Hello, good evening, everyone. Time for another Wednesday night Bible class. Wednesday night Bible class. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday night Bible class. And our church is True Christian Fellowship Baptist Church at 7240 South Racine Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Welcome to another edition of our Bible class during this pandemic. We're having virtual Bible class during this pandemic, so welcome everybody. Come on in. Hello to my beautiful wife, Peggy. Good evening. Good evening. She says, good evening, everyone. So y'all come on in to tonight's Bible class, and we're gonna try to get it over with by 7:30. And then we'll open up our prayer line. But we're also going to give people a chance to watch the Democratic National Convention. Hello, Cousin Shirley down there in Tennessee. God bless you. Hello to Sister Deborah. Good evening to you. Hello to my brother Kenny over there on Periscope. Come on in, Periscope. Hello to everybody. Thank you. God evening to you, Shirley. All right. So we're going to try to get this Bible class over with so we can watch this Democratic Convention. It's been pretty good so far. Hello to Sister. Sister says she's working, so she'll be listening. Amen. That's the most important thing. We got 2 ears. All right. And 1 mouth. Hello to Minister Ernest Jones. Good evening to you, sir. All right. So, like I said, hello, good evening, Sister Carmen Woods is in on us today. All right, God bless you, sister. All right. So, good evening to everybody that's here tonight, and we're gonna move. We're gonna move right along. Good evening to everybody. What you say? All right, just a little bit. All right. Good evening to everybody, and so tonight's Bible class, we're gonna be dealing with bake me a cake. Bake me a cake. And that's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be going to 1 Kings chapter 17, verses 9 through 16. 1 Kings 17, 9 through 16. We're going to be talking about bake me a cake. So let's jump on over here right quick to 1 Kings. All right, let me put that up so everybody can see it. Hopefully everybody see that. All right. So here we are in 1 Kings 17 and 9. He said, arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. So this is God talking to Elijah, the prophet, and he told him to go to Zarephath. I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. And what I saw in that there, he's saying right there, he's using a woman to sustain a man. Men think that we have to take the lead all the time. But here he's using a woman to sustain a man. God evening to you, Brother Robert Barnes. He's using a woman. And so we men need to realize that sometimes you can't make it unless you got a woman on your side. You can't make it unless the woman takes the lead. In the story of Deborah, we're going to talk about that in one of our Bible class, how she was judged over Israel. Israel was saved by a woman. So sometimes a woman has to take the lead. And so here we see this woman was commanded by God to sustain the man. Sometimes you have to be the one to sustain your husband, your children, them sons, them boys, because a lot of these men run off. And so a lot of women have to raise those boys on their own. You have to be the one to sustain sometimes women, even though God called and put Adam here first, but sometimes you have to sustain. So we're going to move on, verse 10. So he arose. In other words, he obeyed God. Remember what I said earlier this week? That obedience brings blessing. So he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there, gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little vessel, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. He called to her to fetch him a little water in a vessel that he may drink. And so he asked her to get him some water. And we look at this 11th verse. She went right ahead and did it. And as she was going to fetch it, she was going to get the water. It ain't much to give somebody a drink of water. Okay, yes, that don't cost much, and it don't take much effort to give somebody a drink of water. So she went to do it. That means fetch it. That's that old country word, fetch. And he called to her as she was going to get him some water and said, bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. Now that means bake me a cake. Morsel of bread is a cake. Bake me a cake. When he said that to her, things changed. Look at that 12th verse. And she said, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat and die. Now she was gladly going to get the water. But then when he called on her to go a little further and make him a cake, she hesitated. She somewhat complained. She wasn't ready to go out of her way for this man. And what did Jesus say? He said, if you just love them that love you, over there in Luke 6 and 32. If you just love them which love you, what thank have you? For sinners also love those that love them. You got to be willing to go out of your way to do a little extra. If you just good to them that's good to you, he said, what thank have you? And so he asked her to bake him a cake. And this put things on the line, because as you see, as she said in that 12, she said, I ain't got but enough in a barrel and a little oil for me and my son, and we about to die. I don't have that much. And you asking me to go out of my way for you? You asking me to put myself sacrifice for you? Well, let's look and see what made her go head on and do it. Verse 13, it said, and Elijah said unto her, fear not, go and do as thou hast said. In other words, he didn't completely stop her and say, you can't do what you was going to do. But he goes on and said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and thy son. Now see, he didn't do it in a dictator type relationship. He said, yeah, you can do that, but can you do this for me first? And so that's why what I'm talking about tonight. To the women, are you willing to put your husband, your man, first? Are you willing to put him first sometime? Because we all like to feel special. We all like to feel loved. Are you willing to put him first? Well, let's look on a little further why she was willing to do it. He went on and said to her, like I said, this ain't no dictatorship. He said, but thus saith the Lord God of Israel, the barrel meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail until that until the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth. And then when he said that to her, verse 15, she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she and her house did eat many days. And verse 16, we're going to say it, the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake to Elijah. She was willing to go do it. Why? Because he was a man of his word. That 16th verse told you everything happened just like he said. So back to the man, if you want your woman to put you first, to go out of her way and make a sacrifice for you, then you got to be a man of your word. And if you be a man of your word, she'll bake that cake for you. That's why I said yesterday over there in Proverbs 18 and 22, where he said, whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. You ain't find nothing good without going out there, putting in some work, searching, putting in some time. You want something good, then you got to put in some effort. That's what it's all about. Remember in the last Bible class last week, I said men have to put in some effort, some sweat for bread. Not just for himself, but for his wife too, for his woman. And I talked about the 3 breads that we need to sweat to make sure our wives are fed, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so because here in our lesson today, because Elijah was a man of his word, and it happened just like he said. It didn't. He said the barrel will never waste. He said the cruse all won't fail. He was a man of his word. God ain't gonna do what no man say unless that man is a true man of God. That's why God honored Elijah's word to her. So if you want your woman to bake you a cake, then you honor God, and God will honor your word to your woman. So it's a two-way street, is what I'm trying to say to y'all tonight. If you want her to bake you a cake, then you got to make a sacrifice for her. If you want her to be your wife, then you make that sacrifice for her to be your good thing. It's a two-way street. We're living in a world with too many people, especially women, giving up their good thing. And women ain't the only somebody got good thing, man got good thing too. You give up your good thing, and you ain't never found your wife, your mate, your love, your soul mate. We got to be willing to go further than necessary. Go a little further than necessary. I hope everybody hear me okay. Kenny said his mic messing up. I don't know why he ain't on Facebook with everybody else. He's on Periscope. Periscope messing up for him. Kenny, Periscope is you got to have a good internet to get on Periscope. So you should try Facebook. But we're talking about baking a cake, and so you got to be willing to go out of your way to make that cake for your man. If he's putting in that sacrifice for you, he put in that sweat, that effort for you, then bake him a cake. And man, when you do that, when you're willing to go that extra mile for your wife, you'll find out she'll be making you cakes when you even ask for a cake. That's the beauty of a relationship. You don't have to wait till I say do something nice. Just do it out of the good treasure of your heart. Like Jesus said, you just love them that love you. You just do good to them that do good to you. You got to be willing to go a little further. All right, Kenny done made it over here. All right, to Facebook. Yeah. So you got to be willing to do good. Sometimes it's going to get a little tough. Hello to Sister Carolyn and made it in and everybody else that's here. It's going to get a little tough. Sometimes it may seem like he ain't doing you good. But then it goes back to what Jesus said. You just good to them. That's good to you. What thank you? You got to be willing to go a little further to make that sacrifice. Elijah asked her to get him some water. She was willing to do that. But then he asked her to go out of her way and make him a cake before he made her and her son anything. Wait a minute. I don't know you. Wait a minute. I don't know you like that. Yeah, you say you're a prophet, but I don't know you like that. But that's all part in building trust. Because if you build the trust between you and your woman, she will gladly make a cake for you. She'll gladly make a sacrifice for you. She'll gladly put you above herself. But if every time you turn around, she put herself and make that sacrifice, and you don't live up to your word like Elijah did, then we got a problem. We got a problem then if you ain't living up to your word. As I told you the other day, you got to put in some work. You said, where is your love? How deep is your love? You said you love me. You said I do at the altar. What happened to that I do? What happened to that for better or for worse? In sickness, in health. You did all of that stuff. That's why Revelation said go back to that first love. Some of us men need to go back to doing what we used to do. There's a saying, the same thing it took to get them, it takes the same thing to keep them. So you need to go back to that first love. You want her to bake you a cake, but you ain't living up to your word. You want her to be there for you and make that sacrifice for you, but you keep breaking promises. Elijah didn't break that promise. The Bible said that cruise will never fail. That barrel of flour will never fail. So you give to her, she'll give to you. That's how life works. But too many people are selfish and want somebody to do something for them, and they ain't doing nothing, keeping that end of the bargain. So, big man, gladly she'll do it. But are you working by the sweat of your face that she may be fed physically, fed mentally, fed spiritually? She can see God in you, then she will gladly follow you. All right. So, bake me a cake. That's what we were talking about tonight. And so I got a few minutes left before we're gonna cut off for this convention. We cutting off at 7:30. Anybody got any questions? First lady, if you see a question, let me know. We're gonna give everybody a chance, get some questions in, and get a chance to sit back and watch this Democratic National Convention, which has been really beautiful so far. Each night I really like it. So we hoping for change for the better. But it's gonna call for some sacrifice. Somebody gotta bake some cakes. Somebody gotta go out of their way, make some sacrifices. Especially Joe Biden, if you wanna be president, he's gonna have to go out of his way and be a leader, to be the head of your family. You have to be willing to make some sacrifices. for your family, for your woman. You have to be willing to go out of your way for her. You ask her to bake you a cake. That's just in the physical sense. But what is the real cake that we're talking about? We're talking about a cake of love. Bake me some love. Bake me some peace. Bake me some long suffering. Bake me some joy. When I feel them kind of things baking into me, then I become filled. You can feel me all day with that old physical cake. But when that cake of love start filling me, it'll fill me up. That'll cake of long suffering, you going out of your way for me, that'll fill me. That'll cake of faith, because no relationship can go anywhere unless there's some trust in that relationship. There's got to be trust. Broken trust causes broken relationships. All right, question. Now, y'all be sure and tune in to me on Sunday at 12 noon Central Time, and we're going to go a little further. 12 o'clock Sunday, we're going to go a little further with this situation about baking a cake. I'm going to talk about sweating for your woman. I'm going to talk about how deep is your love. I'm talking about putting some work in. On Sunday, we're going to summarize and put it all together and get down to the nitty gritty after my beautiful wife do some good singing for y'all. And y'all let me do a little bit of singing too. All right, that is true, Carol, and there's got to be understanding between the two. We have an understanding, and love brings about understanding. Love works no ill, ain't puffed up and bump itself up. All right, so we got to have that cake of love in our lives. A cake of gentleness and meekness, my wife says. That's right, because you can't be just fussing at her. You can't be calling her out of her name. You can't be degrading him, saying you ain't nothing, your dad ain't one nothing, you ain't nothing, and you'll never be nothing. No, let's stop speaking curse into each other's lives, and let's speak life into each other's life with gentleness and meekness, as God said, with love and kindness have I drawn thee. So that means with love and kindness, we're supposed to use toward each other, because we all go out of the way and need to be drawn back into the right way. But do it in love and kindness, not in strife, not in beating him or her down. No, you only drive them further away. Use love and kindness. But we're going to get into all of this Sunday. Yeah, I ain't going to get it all tonight. That's right, Minister Jones. Submit to one another. That's what it's all about. You want a cake, I want some. Then we got to submit to one another. All right, because everybody wants to feel love. They wants to feel special. And Elijah asked her to do something special for him. And because he was a man of his word, she knew he was a man of God. She was willing to step out on the limb for him. Sometimes you ain't gonna know. But if he's a true man of God, then he will live up to his word. But as I said earlier, broken promises causes broken relationship. That's where that trust goes out the window. Now we just fighting. No, we need love. We need trust. We need that understanding. We need to speak life into each other's life. Keep your bitterness to each other. All right, that's correct, Carolyn. Don't put your business out there in the street. Right. All right. So I thank you all for tuning into tonight's Bible class. We're gonna go offline and open up our prayer line tonight. We're gonna go offline and open it up. So if anybody wants private prayer, we're gonna go offline and open our prayer line. Anybody want to go ahead and watch the convention? I don't know if it's gonna start. I think it's gonna start to 8 tonight. I'm not for sure. But you want to watch the convention, however, our prayer line will be open because we got to continue to be there for those that want to pray. That's why I keep the doors of the church open. Somebody may come knocking at the door, and we don't want God to ask, why was your doors closed? So we open every Sunday, starting at 10:45 with Sunday school. All right. So y'all have a good evening. And as I always say, keep God first. All right. We're going to switch over here and begin our prayer line in a few minutes. Thank you all for coming, stopping by. All right.